Katia, the Workers' Party, Dilma Rousseff's party, do they actually have a governing majority that is capable of carrying out fiscal policy?
She's lost a lot of her popularity, and that is the big issue here. With this corruption scandal with Petrobras, she has lost the ability to make the reforms that she needs when she needs them. Well, she should have been doing them in her first term. So this S&P rating cut and loss of investment grade rating is a great reminder to politicians to get things done before things get out of hand, right? It's a great reminder that there are consequences today for not taking action.
And as with the U.S. downgrade, it's basically the S&P downgrade, as I understood it, was looking at political dysfunction, not necessarily economic data.
Absolutely. And S&P isn't alone. Fitch had a conference last week. They said the same thing. They're looking at what the political disintegration is doing to the future of the economy, because this plays a massive role in terms of getting reforms across.
Can markets tell the politicians what to do? If you get a real to whatever point you're going to tell me it needs to be, is that a game changer for the politicians?
It's not just the real. It's also the debt load across companies in the country. The borrowing costs are going to rise a lot. Throughout the investment grade, the boom that they've had over the last 7 years, companies have increased their debt load. They've doubled it. So those borrowing costs are going to rise, and the repercussion is going to be felt throughout the economy.
Tom, let me just throw in a number here. We're actually looking at $270 billion in dollar and euro denominated debt for Brazilian companies. So that, I mean, that is only going to compound the problem right now.
Absolutely. It's going to be felt throughout the economy, right?
Right. Let's go to Robert Burke here of Robert Burke Associates, who does work in Brazil as well. You have to deal with the Brazilian economy, and one of them that we all know from Econ 101 is weaker currency, better manufacturing. Is that going to happen for Brazil?
Yes, and we're already seeing it. We're seeing the manufacturing being very advantageous and then exporting those goods certainly to the U.S. and to countries where the goods are in demand and the cost is low.
Brazil is different than Mexico.
It is. Brazil is legendarily a logistical nightmare, right? There's the low tax zone. There are various ways to do it. There aren't roads. How are you going to do that? How do you overcome what they call the cost of Brazil?
Well, I mean, Brazil throughout is not necessarily like that. I mean, there are some very well-established companies. One of the companies we work with is called Arezzo. They went public on the Brazilian stock exchange with a 25 times multiple. They have 350 stores in Brazil. They see an opportunity, and they have the production capabilities, and they see the opportunity to export.
Katia, is this something that we see more broadly? Does the movement in the real, I know it's relatively recent, but are other companies actually looking at manufacturing in Brazil, or is it too soon to tell?
I think it's too soon to tell, and I think especially with what the Petrobras scandal has done in terms of freezing up a lot of these companies, we have to see how it plays out.
Right. On your desk this week, what are you going to look at? I mean, I look at the immediacy of a real depreciation. I look at that 4.25% bond of 2025, and they tell me crisis happening. Is it this week, or do you wait for October or next year?
I think we need to see what happens with the Fed, right? Because anything...
You're going to tie Janet Yellen to your Latin America. Well,
because things happen to move very quickly, right? When there is a bump around the world, if emerging markets all start to rally, that could really push the real, even briefly.
Is Alexandre Tombini, the central bank chief there, the last adult left in Brazil?
Oh, I think that's harsh. I think Joaquim Levy is very impressive, and unfortunately, he just has everything going against him, and he was just brought in too late.
Katia Porzecanski, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated.